everybody, how's it going? Today we're going to be taking a look at a pair of Spyderco knives. These are ones that I got quite a while ago, right when they first came out. I did an unboxing right when I gave them, and I've been carrying both of them actually pretty extensively ever since then, just kind of off and on, rotating in and out. And it's time to go ahead and get into the review, so here it is, and I hope you enjoy it. Today we have the Spyderco Cat and the Spyderco Chicago. These were recently revived by Spyderco last year, I think due to a pretty overwhelming demand since the original short-lived carbon fiber versions of these two knives, as you see here, previously reviewed by me. Only were around for about one model year, and due to some quality control issues, Spyderco chose to discontinue them. However, I have not found any issue with my original carbon fiber S30V Spyderco Cat in Chicago, so maybe I just got the lucky two, but just take that for what it's worth. But as always, let's go ahead and jump right into the specifications first. Closed length on the Cat comes in at 3.5 inches and 3.1 inches on the Chicago. Blade length on the Cat comes in at 2.4 inches and 2 inches on the Chicago. Overall length, 5.9 inches on the Cat, 5 inches on the Chicago. Weight, 2.5 ounces on the Cat, 2.2 ounces on the Chicago. Blade material is identical on both of them. It's using Spyderco's 440C. Both feature a full flat grind. The blade shape in and of itself, I think, it's a little bit different on these two, just my opinion, guys. The Spyderco Cat, I think, is closer to a traditional spear point. The definition of a spear point is basically in the geometry. Basically, the top and bottom angles come to a very acute point, almost like a pyramid. On this particular knife, this is definitely one of the better examples I've seen of such. However, it still does retain Spyderco's traditional kind of leaf shape overall. I've mentioned this a couple times before on such knives like the Delica. I like to refer to this shape of knife as the spear leaf, since it's kind of a hybrid and walks in both those worlds at the same time. Whereas on the Chicago, you still do have the general idea of a spear point blade. However, the top end of the knife is not quite as balanced as the bottom end. It's a little bit obtuse in that perspective and a little bit closer to the traditional leaf-shaped design that Spyderco has championed. It's kind of a short, stubby kind of leaf-shaped blade, but I think that's one of the things that gives it some character. Blade thickness on these two comes in at 0.09 inches, so it is a relatively slim and streamlined blade. Not very thick at all. Definitely not a butcher knife, more like a surgeon's scalpel. Very clean, very elegant. The handle material on these two, again, is the same. It's both using G-10. This particular type of G-10 I would call a smooth G-10. It's definitely not super aggressive. However, on this particular type of knife, I don't really think an aggressive G-10 would have been appropriate, since that's not really the type of use that I feel Spyderco has been going for. This is more just a general light use, everyday carry knife. You know, this is not something that somebody's going to be beating up in the field. And honestly, it's out there a lot for the collectors like me as well, who were fans of the original designs. Put together with Torx screws, like most of Spyderco's catalog, it does feature a very small lanyard hole, and there's honestly no way in hell that you're going to get 550 through there, so that's kind of silly. I don't really feel that a knife of these two sizes really needs a lanyard, because while it may seem small, even on the Chicago, it's not hard to get into your hand. Again, I don't have overly large hands, but just my 2 cents on that. Both feature pillar construction with flow-through design. Again, it is Torx screws, so you can take it apart and clean it very easily. Both feature my personal favorite pocket clip of all time, what I call the spider wire clip. Very low riding, very simple clip. When riding in your pocket, it kind of resembles a Bic pen, in my opinion. It is reversible for tip-up only, left or right. Another feature these both have, according to Spyderco's website, is not just a liner lock, but they actually have it trademarked as an official Mike Walker liner lock. Mike Walker is the gentleman who is credited with the invention of the liner lock, and he was doubly praised with the creation of Spyderco's Sage 1. The Spyderco Sage series is a tribute to different types of locks on folding knives, and with the first one they decided to pay tribute to Mr. Walker, who designed the liner lock, which is one of my personal favorite locking systems on folding knives. I find it works very, very well for basic EDC knives. For the deployment on these two, you got a pretty generous spider hole. They both actually feature the 1/2-inch spider hole, which has always been my favorite. I find it's just the perfect size for my thumb to flick it out and get it open. Very, very simple to open, very, very simple to close, very comfortable, very handsome. Makes it easy to do the Spyderco drop, even on a small knife like that. Piece of cake. Lock up on these two. Not feeling any side-to-side play on that, no up or down. That's pretty solid. On the Chicago, very, very minor hint of wiggle, side to side, nothing up and down. Definitely within acceptable tolerances, so that's not a big deal. Blade centering on these two, yeah, definitely not center. It's a little closer on the Chicago than it is on the Cat. My Cat's a little bit off to the right. It may be different for some of you guys out there. The two that I got, as far as I know, were close to the very start of production. As far as retail availability was concerned, and I had heard that they were having some minor quality control issues just with that first batch. Heard that from a few of my friends here on YouTube. Personally, I haven't really had any serious issues with those, other than the lanyard hole, the little washer that goes in there, seems to be a little loose. If I shake it, you can probably hear it. You can kind of hear it rattling around. It does a little on the Cat. Yeah, you can definitely hear that one. It's definitely worse on the Cat than it is on the Chicago. That one only rattles a little bit, but you can hear that thing like shaking around there. Again, to me, guys, that's not really a big deal because I'm not really shaking my knife around a lot. It doesn't rattle when it's, you know, when I'm walking or something, when I'm carrying it in my pocket. So that's not really a big deal at all to me. If it were, I would just send it back to Spyderco and have them take care of it, and I'm sure that they would. So no big deal. Okay, the jimping on these two, that is one where I'd actually have to give it a minor complaint. I'm not really a huge stickler for jimping. That's not really something that appeals to me most of the time. But I guess what I'm kind of tainted by was on the original version of the Cat and the Chicago knives. As you can see, these two both have jimping right here in the forward finger choil, and particularly on the original Chicago, because it's a smaller knife, it feels so good to have that just that little extra layer of grip when you're doing cutting tasks and basic things like that. It just feels a little bit more comfortable, at least in my opinion. And on these two, not only did they forego the underside jimping, they foregoed it on the top as well. The top, it would have been nice to have it. Again, both of the original designs feature some jimping on the top, but it wouldn't be a deal breaker. I'd honestly rather have it on the bottom. I felt that that was a lot more functional, but having it on both would certainly be a welcome treat. Both of these knives are actually manufactured in Taiwan, just like the original ones, the original carbon fiber S30V ones. There we go. Got the old ones and the new ones there. The original Cat, the new Cat, original Chicago, new Chicago. Okay, we'll do a few quick size comparisons here. Got the Cat and the Chicago in there. We'll bring in kind of the second cousin for this pair, the Spyderco Ambitious. Very similar in size to the Spyderco Cat. Then we got the Spyderco Chaparral. A little bit bigger there, but pretty close. And we'll keep it all Spyderco today. We'll bring in the translucent blue Manix 2. Much, much larger of a knife. And the Spyderco Man Bug. Okay, we'll do a quick care review here. Start off with the Cat. Show you what that spider wire clip looks like in the pocket. As you can see, guys, this thing basically disappears. That's kind of the same way with all the spider wire clips, whether it be the Sage, you know, the new Dragonfly 2 and everything. It's just the design of the clip is so great because the knife rides so low that it's just practically invisible. Put the cat right next to it. Same deal, just absolutely disappears in your pocket. It's a very comfortable ride, just sits right in there. Very low riding, very concealable, and just very, very comfortable, and that's why it's my favorite pocket clip. So excellent job, Spyderco. Okay guys, we'll do a quick cutting demonstration here. Just to be clear, I have had to touch up both of these just one time using an ultra-fine stone, my Lansky sharpening kit. Just a few passes and both of these touched right up really easily, so no problems at all there. We'll start off with the cat, we'll see how we do. Pretty good, not too bad. Okay, and the Chicago. Get that out of the way. I think it's more the taper than it is the knife. That's where having a spear point comes in handy for stuff like that. Not too bad at all. Good job, Spyderco. Bottom line, I think Spyderco absolutely made the right decision to resurrect the Spyderco Cat and the Spyderco Chicago. Price point on these two is relatively affordable, right around 40 bucks for the Chicago and about $45, $47 for the Cat. So they're definitely within a modest person's budget, definitely within my budget. Spyderco got a lot of flack when these were first announced for putting them out in 440C blade steel. I'm kind of walking the fence on that one. I can sort of understand why Spyderco did it. First of all, to keep the cost down, because 440C is readily available and it's really easy to work with without them investing a lot of money into it. However, if all it would cost me as a consumer were them to jump the price, say $10 or $15 for them to beef up the steel to VG10, I would not feel cheated or ripped off by such a marginal price increase, but for getting substantially better steel. That being said, the 440C and the heat treat that Spyderco does on these is very, very good. Again, I've had these for months and I've only had to touch them up one time. And I've carried these things ridiculously much because I love them so much and because they just work as basic EDC knives. I would definitely classify them as a BUF, buff, basic utility folder. It's a basic liner locking knife, very slim, very streamlined, very lightweight, and very low cost. This is something that Spyderco isn't really known for, with the exception of the Ambitious, Tenacious, Resilience line. That's kind of their budget line, and the rest of their knives tend to be more on the high end. But these are definitely kind of walking the thin space between that particular line of knives and the higher end knives. It's kind of the middle child in that particular scale of the Spyderco catalog. I can absolutely give both of these my recommendation. As a matter of fact, for you Spyderco collectors out there, I'm going to give these a must buy, especially if you've got the original two, the original carbon fiber and S30V Cat in Chicago, and you don't want to carry them because those things are impossible to find. Should, you know, God forbid you lose it and you have to replace it, these would be your kind of your EDC versions of those. These you can carry, they're easy to find, you can replace them easily for not a lot of money. So if you've got the original two, you need to get these just so you can have something to carry, because it's got that same basic form factor, slightly different materials, but at the same time, the original spirit of the original two designs I think is well preserved. I want to go ahead and thank everyone so much for their time, taking the time to watch this review. For all the best gear, flashlights, you name it, go ahead and check out www.whitemountainknives.com and be sure to enter discount code MJF to get 10% off your order, and it is free shipping inside of the United States. Again, thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.